Hello, welcome back. We are now working on our second signature for the album that we're making, Timeless Moments. And I've got it all laid out, and I hope I can remember everything that I've done. So here we go. Your base page, I used this piece of paper. On the back side, it is the one that had the window on it. There were two of them in the pack. So I'm using this side. So this measures at 8 1/4 inches across by your 8 3/4 in your height. Now the first thing I'm going to do down here is we're going to place a belly band here on this side, but to position it effectively, we're going to play with these pieces. You should have, I hope, another cutting that has these three, T-tins. So you've got the big one, you've got fine teas, you have a cottage rose, and then there was the big one. Except I don't think this is where this goes. I think this went in the middle. I wish I could remember, but I have been playing with this for a couple of days and now I can't remember. I know this one was on the bottom. That one I'm confident of. But I'm thinking this big one was in the middle. I might be wrong. I really wish I had another version of it available so I could look at it. So what I'm going to have you do is just put it together. I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to put the large one on the top. I'm going to put the next size in the middle with the bottom one, the smaller one here on the bottom. So I have taken each one of these and I have cut them, this might be way I can, so that we're, okay, so this is at the top, this is in the middle, this is on the bottom. I'm looking at the designs in the paper. So I do have these staggered the correct way. So your bottom one is going to measure, I already have it done, 4 1/2 inches across by 3 3/8. And you're going to have a 1/2 inch score and it's going to tuck under so that we can put it here without it interfering with the hinge. I had this all thought out and now I'm second guessing myself. All right, I gotta look at something here real quick. I'm sorry. So if I'm putting this on here this way, I don't have anything that's gonna cover these green hinges. So I'll cut a strip that will match and cover them once we get them all in. All right, so that goes here. This next one, the middle one in the middle, measures at 4 1/2 across with a 1/2 inch score, but this time it's going to measure 4 1/8 in the height. And then the last one, which is the largest one, is going to measure at 4 1/2 across with a 1/2 inch score, but this time it's going to measure 4 5/8 in the height. So what I would like to do, if this works, this is where the thought process and the madness come together. I'm going to start with lining these on the outside, or I could flip these and tape them to the back side, which probably would be better because then I don't have to cut a strip for that piece. So the problem doing it that way is I won't be able to really get around the bulk very much as we're layering this as we go along. So I'm just letting you know that when you put these in, your next layer is going to lay over the top of this. So this is going to build up. This is going to get thicker. And then when we get down to the last piece, it's going to be, the same thing's going to happen where it's going to get rather thick. But there's nothing else going over it yet. The piece that will go over it does have a 1/8 of a hinge that I have built in, so that will go over all of this. And then we're going to get the next one. I'm going to turn it over so I can reverse this. Now, these two here, I'm going to have to play with it just a little bit because, boy, I sure do not like how this is going to come together. This one's going to come in here at the bottom, but it's got to go over this one. So I want to stagger this one in a manner that it will look correct. So give me a second here while I play with this. Okay, so I think that's where I want it. So I'm dropping this from the top. I'm dropping this down about 2 1/4 inches. And then I'm going to push this right up to that score line. And then I'm going to fold this over. I'm going to really burnish this. And then the last piece will sit in here like so. I could have dropped this a little bit more. I was trying to keep what you're seeing this about the same amount for each one, and I didn't drop that one enough, but I'm not going to waste undo to take it apart. Okay, so this is the middle one. This is the bottom one. And this is the top one. So they'll line up like so. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start gluing these in place. Okay, there's that one. And then here's the one that went in the middle. Now, if I've got these lined up wrong, you can go ahead and correct them if you haven't cut your paper yet. And I will tell you, let me get this done here. I have about, on this one from the top of the lid, there's about 3/8 of an inch. Here has 1/2 inch. And then here again has 3/8 of an inch. Now the paper I'm using to cover the back side is this. It is the piece that has all the teacups with the bird. That one goes here. And I can see that I have an issue with some tape right here, that this did not snug in far enough. Not sure how I'm going to address that. But for now, I'm going to just glue these pieces in. This side. And these will be your photo mats. Or journaling. But I do not like that. So what I'm going to try to do, my little friend here called undo, I'm going to lift this ever so gently. I need some more encouragement. There we go. Let's see here. Okay, and then I'm going to bring this, I'm going to straighten it out and bring it in. There we go. And I'm going to kind of hold my finger on that for just a minute. This undo evaporates fairly quickly, but then it takes just a few more minutes for the glue to set up and for the tape to work again. So what I'm going to do, because I don't want this to slip, so I'm going to put some glue back here. Because I'm done with it, so tape it doesn't matter. And for you gluers, you're going, yay, she used some glue. All right, well, that's better than what it was. Okay, so here you have your journaling or your photo spots. Now let's work on this belly band. So in your scraps, there is this piece. It is an edge piece. This was the back of it. Beautiful doily. And then this was one of the pieces that was trimmed from a larger piece. I do believe it was the, I don't remember. I'm not going to try to remember. Okay, so here we go. So this piece, I did not cut this down. I wanted this whole piece the way that it was. So I made the pocket to fit. Oh, I've got my measurements. So it's 1 7/8 across. And then it's 9 3/4 in the length with a 1/2 inch score at both ends. And I need to put some tape on this. And then we're going to wrap it around the top of this. You put that aside. But what I want to do is I want to close these because I want this to be seen, but also effective. All right. take this tape off down here. I'm pulling it forward. I apologize. I'm off camera, but all I'm doing is bending this over. And I wanted to try and keep my belly band as tight as possible. So I pulled it over toward me a little bit more. Okay, so now we're going to put this piece in. And I'm just going to glue it. All right. Okay, so you've got a belly band here that you can put items in. You can still commit some photos here if you wish. And then you have your either photo or journaling opportunities all the way down. And then these are for your decorative viewing pleasure. All right, so let's work on our side panels. I need to set things in direction because I'm not going to lose my space anymore. Okay. I'm learning to use cheating tools like paper clips. And then I'm alphabetizing my pieces. All right, so these next two panels, your right and your left panel, are going to be made the same way. So I'm going to give you the measurement for one, and it will be the measurement for the other one. This very outer panel is going to measure at 4.5 inches with a 1/2 inch score. You're going to fold it over and then you're going to attach it to this piece. And this piece measures, oh, I've got it right here, 4 3/4 inch from edge to this seam by your 8 3/4 in height. So 4.5 by 8 3/4, you have a 1/2 inch score. Tape it or glue it, fold it over, add it. This one over here, though, you're going to come in and you're going to score it at a 1/2 inch, and then you're going to score it at 5/8 inch. This is where our hinge, our gusset, will come to help wrap around the bulk that we just made here, because there's a lot of bulk right here. And when this is placed in there the correct way, you will see how the hinge wraps around everything that we've built in, and that's the way it should look. So when we turn this over to get to that spot, you're going to rest this section right up along that 5/8 inch score line. So you're going to be on the outer edge of your score marks, and then we're going to, there's going to be some pushback. You're going to have some bulk here, so just handle it firmly, but get it up and over. And then you have your hinge here, and this is all set and ready to go. Now you can still see a little bit of my tape, but I think what I'm going to do when we're all done, and just so that you know, if you put these together and you can see your tape in here, if you have this product, you take just a little bit of it and you spill it in here, then you take your craft knife and you ever so gently crease along that tape so that it breaks it, and then you come back in and you pick it back up. I will do that later. I'm not going to do that now, but that's what I will be doing, okay? Let's go ahead and let's get our left panel built. And I just realized something. and I'm too far in the video and I can't stop it. But I'll let you know what I've done here in just a second. Okay, same exact panels. But this time, when you go to put these on here, you're going to make sure that you're coming to the 1/2 inch score line because you want it to match this. Even though you don't have any bulk here, you still need to have this hinge forward of the base page. Does that make sense? Okay, I'm getting myself all frazzled here. I'm just gonna do it this way, very carefully. Come in, lay it down, right up to that 1/2 inch score mark. So then when you close this, you can see that both of these hinges are in front of your base page. They're on top of the base page. Okay, so we'll get to playing around with the insides now. This panel and this panel are going to have flaps that are going to go up. So we're going to put those on first because then the paper we lay down will cover it. Will cover our seam. These are large enough to hold a 4x6 photo. You know what? I'm going to turn this around. I'm going to go upside down because then I can see that I'm centering it correctly. And I need to trim these down just a fraction, because it's coming together right on top of the hinge. So when I'm this corner and this corner, I'm trying to get it in between this score line and this score line. So I'm resting it. That was a perfect amount. Okay. Now we'll come over here and we'll do this one. Hold on. Trying to keep things in order so I don't mess up again like I did on the previous. Okay, so here we go again. I'm going to do a dry fit. This one I'm good on. Okay. So I'm lining it to the top. And I'm in between my two score lines. Okay, now let's go ahead and let's turn. So these two are here. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to decorate these because we might as well just get them kind of out of the way a little bit here and be done with them. So some of this I did, all of this I did with scraps except for these little embellishments here. I fussy cut those out. This piece here is from scrap. And this, I'm using this side of this piece that's from scrap, and it's going to go under here like so. Now, the way I like to cut my papers, and maybe it won't bother you, but when you frame this in, you have a good 1/8 of an inch on both sides, but not enough here. So I'm moving this over so that I get just a light framework, but then I'm going to come in here with a 3/4 inch strip, and I'm going to cover this, and this will become a tuck for your photo. All right, so let's go ahead and let's get this on. So I'm just lining it in here, and then I put an 1/8 of an inch strip of tape on the outer edge, and I'm just going to come in here and I am going to line this up. I'm going to score it. Now I'm hesitating on whether I want to seal the top and the bottom. I'm going to give myself a little bit. If I need to seal those, I'll come in behind with maybe a dab of glue. We'll see how it works. So if I come in here, there's a tuck. Okay, flip it over, and we have this piece right here, this pink piece. Pretty pink piece. This is pretty, but I like to try and stay with a neutral base. You can use whichever side you want to use because it's your album. In fact, you can use any of the scraps that you want to use. I'm just showing you what it is that I've selected. All right, so what I decided I wanted to do is here, there's a couple of plates in there. Oh, I have to put this on. There's a couple of plates in there. I fussy cut them out, and I'm just going to run just a small bead of glue here at the base, and I'm going to put this here on the bottom, and it's a nice little tuck. You can still commit a photo if you want, or you can utilize the tuck. This thing here, I forgot, is going to go down here. So I am just going to glue 1/2 of this, set it in place. That's so pretty. I love the color combinations in this. All right, so this flap is done. Let's go finish up the other flap. And then the same process. I'm still using this piece. I had a long enough strip that I could cut to, but I am still short on my width, so I'm going to create another tuck. This is such a pretty piece. I've got plans for this piece. There's another sheet. My brain is working on it already. Okay, so I'm going to push this. Actually, I want it this way because I want the two to balance. Okay. And then I'm going to put just a thin strip of tape. Again, I don't know if I'm going to commit the top and the bottom yet. I have to think about that. And then we have this strip. Again, I pulled out of my scraps. You can use any strip you want. And then I fussy cut out this little jar of, it's either sugar cubes, candy colored marshmallows, and it's just going to come down here on the bottom. Okay, and then I did not have two pink pieces, so I chose a gray to come in over here on this flap. I try to use as much of my scraps as I can because until I get an album done, I really don't know how much paper I'm going to have left. And I don't have set patterns to my albums. I make them different every single time. So it's unknown to me if I've got enough paper or not. All right, so same thing. This is a plate. I'm just going to glue here across the bottom. And then I'm going to set it right down here. You can commit a photo, or you have a nice little tuck. So I'm going to fold these kind of back out of the way. So that I can work the rest of the album. Now, I got to show you something because I've got to start thinking about it, and I need to let you know right away what my issue is. I did not finish this. I should have waited. I should have walked myself through it. But you're going to find a piece of paper that's going to have a clock. And I have cut that clock in half. Where is it? Here it is. I've cut the clock in half. And to get to the clock, I did a lot of trimming away of things on the outside. I wanted the clock centered. But what I didn't think about, which is just now occurring to me, is I have no way to keep this closed. So I'm going to be thinking about this, on how I might handle this. I've got some little swing tabs that I could die cut and use here, putting in a brad. But if I'm going to do that, I've got to do that right away because I've got to punch the brad all the way through. And I don't want to cover everything and then go, oh my gosh. So I'm trying to think about it now as to what I'm going to do with this piece. Now, I could also cut a round piece on my die from scrap and replace this where I can place magnets on one side, glue it down, and put some arms of a clock on this. How big is this? It is 3 1/4 inches in diameter. So I would have to quickly find a piece. So I'm gonna stop right here, and I'm going to do a second part to this video where I can address this. So in the next video, we will finish up this signature, but I need to address this. And my absolute sincere apologies. It was a function that I did not think through. So I will see you here shortly in the next video. Bye-bye.